So my name is Jonathan Dineka. I am based, like I mentioned, on the border of France and Luxembourg. So 10-minute drive into Luxembourg, but on the French side. The beautiful thing about living around here is that I have Germany 20 minutes away from me, 20-minute drive. I have Belgium 40-minute drive away.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started with this episode.
So very, very very multicultural, how I like it. You know, originally from Congo, DRC, grown up in London, was born in Congo, lived in London majority of my life. And 5 years back, I relocated to Paris to open up, the business, the market business for the company that I work for.
That's very interesting. So you are working in a marketing agency of your own, right?
Now, today I'm a country manager for a software company. A software company based in is a Danish company that focuses on the SaaS segment. And I'm the country manager because I oversee everything that goes on within the French-speaking market, mainly France, but also we have Belgium, Luxembourg, and a little bit of Switzerland also.
Now, let's learn a little bit about you. So you were born in Congo, you grew up in London, but you are actually now in the middle of Europe. You are connecting, you are a connector. Is that what you are?
That's what I like to place myself as, African at heart. But I like to see myself as a citizen of the world because, there is a beauty in cultures. There's a beauties in different countries. Wherever you go, you learn something new about it. You learn something that you can add into your own pedigree as a human being. So that's what I like to see myself as a citizen of the world, really.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to spend much time here on the business, of course. So let's just get started in it. So how did you get started in business? So of course, we are going to we see now that you are into sales. And that is very important also for our demography, because if you have something to offer, you don't know how to do the sale, then you are not going to get somebody buying from you. So you're going to be telling us much about that. But first, let's try to understand, how did you get into business?
If I have to be honest, I've always been passionate about business. I've always been passionate about business from a very young age. I think is way back into my origins. My father is a businessman, and I've always been passionate about, the whole negotiation thing, the whole selling stuff to people, but not just the selling aspect, more the business development aspect. That's something that's always drew my attention. That's why I ended up studying international business. I did international business in London for 3 years. Before international business, whilst I was in college, preparing to go to university, I studied business first diploma. Then I studied business national diploma. That's how I started into business. After university, I go into sales. I was indirectly involved in sales because when I was at university, I was working as a part-time worker, always selling. I started in retail. Then after university, I really go into sales as a full-time employee and just started enjoying it until I'm kind of progressed in my journey as a professional step by step.
So let's look a little bit about your demography and the people that you are selling mostly to. Are there also maybe African diaspora or any type of people? Tell me a bit about your demography, the people that you are targeting in your marketing.
Yeah. Today, my target market is mainly Europe because the business that I work for, the company that I'm doing the expansion for, is European based, and the digital tool that I sell has been designed for European market for the meantime. However, there is potential, of course, for different continents, but I think that's down the line within their roadmap. For the meantime, they're looking to become number one within Europe first. Then they can decide to go international into other markets.
All right.
Yeah.
But even in Europe, there are different languages. I'm trying to see how you manage to navigate all the different countries in Europe. In Italy, for example, we will speak Italian. You are in France, you speak French. You go to
Yeah.
Germany, you're going to be speaking German. So how do you navigate this part in your marketing?
Born in Congo, so I've got a French speaking side. I grew up speaking French. And like I said, very young, I went to London, no speaking the language, no speaking English at all. But I was able through, striving, through hard work to learn the language. I was able to learn the language and study within that language. So that gave me an advantage, a competitive advantage or a general advantage in terms of having two languages, which is French and English, and at the back of that, also being from Congo, I also speak Lingala very well. So I have the advantage of having three different languages and I can easily navigate around it. And it goes beyond just the speaking of the language. It also goes on the understanding of the culture. Having lived in the different places, I can understand different cultures on how people may think or, how decision may be taken based on different countries and everything around it.
All right,
Yeah.
that's good. So you are prepared. You are ready for the job.
Indeed.
That's interesting. So your real major in business, is it in sales? I didn't hear that part very well just now. Is it in sales or tell me about that?
Yeah, it's sales, business development, market expansion, and revenue growth. That's really where I specialize. That's my expertise. When there is a business that's looking to develop the activity in a country, I will come, put in the strategy and design the strategy, present it, of course, to the people at the top of the company. And once the strategy is approved, we will put that into place and just start executing on it.
How do you approach a market? Say maybe, for example, Coca-Cola is contacting you now to take up. Okay, I'm not saying that you are going to work for Coca-Cola because you already have your
Yeah.
company that you're working for, no? Just a kind of an example, no? Coca-Cola call you, they want to maybe target Italian market or target, I don't know, a German market, for example. So how do you get started? What are the approach that you usually take to enter into the market? Maybe it might be new to you, or maybe you are just entering it for the first time.
Perfect. First thing first is always to study the demand within the market. Study the demand in the market, understand the demographic, and my approach after that will always be to have a business expansion model. Like I'll give you a straight example. If we have a business in one country, I would say, like you said, Coca-Cola, that's working really well in France, for example, is Europe. Of course, I'll have some clients in Europe that are also international, that are partners of us. The first approach will be to speak with those partners and tell them, look, we are looking to open up in this market. I know that you are present there. How can we work together in order to help us also develop? Partnership is a big thing. But on the flip side of that, when you are working on that, it's important also to target local new businesses. It's always important to have local logos, because when you have local logos, for example, we're targeting Italy, you have Italian specific brand. It's always important because the country will see that you are getting yourself involved within the culture, so people are normally open to that. So partnership and also targeting new businesses. That's the two main approach that I would normally take.
Well,
Yeah.
that is very interesting now. So it's not like you are entry to capture a market. You are going with the full bloom of competition. You are going there with
Partnership.
collaboration or with
Collaboration, exactly.
partnership.
Yeah.
All right. So why do you take that approach instead of maybe going there to to take a slice of the market and start competing with other people that are there? Why is partnership a better approach?
Competition will always happen. Competition will always happen. Something that will come under the bracket of market studying is being commercially aware. When I talk about commercially aware, it's important to understand the demand. Like I said earlier, it's important to understand your competition. It's important to understand the market segment and everything that falls under that also. But I always see partnership as very powerful tool that a lot of people tend to neglect Because if you've proven yourself in one, demographic, the same company that trusts you, that you've worked with, could be the pillar to drive you into the new market. You are confident that what you're offering will be working. Why not collaborate with the partners you already have to be able to develop a new market?
Yeah, right. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one. All right. Now, in the business where you currently are happy, okay, the company where you are currently happy to expand in the side of France, um, tell me, when did you first realize that this was a business you wanted to work for? I mean, help me understand a bit about your passion for this particular business that this particular company that you are working for. What do you like about it?
First of all, the company that I like, that I work for, what I like about it, is important to like the culture. It's important to like the company that you're working for in terms of not just the product aspect, but it has to be three aspects. I like to break it down. The product has to match your own vision. The leaders have to be good leaders. When I mean good leaders, I mean people who can listen to you, people who can trust you, people who would, take your creative idea into consideration. And the third aspect that I always like to take into account is the fact that you as a person have room for development also. I consider myself still pretty young, and I'm a person who like to develop, like to grow. So I would feel very uncomfortable working in a place where I cannot develop. I like my work to be incentivized, of course, not just financially, but incentivized in a way that I know that if I get my job done, I get my target achieved, etc., I'm able to grow and develop within that company, because the company growing should also help me grow. So those are the three aspects I'll normally look at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to believe in the product. You have to have good leaders who understand you, and also there has to be room for growth for yourself as a person.
All right. So, what do you offer in terms of a company that you are representing? What kind of product do you offer in the market? So, if somebody is looking at you now, they want to buy the service that your company is offering. Can you say anything about that?
Yeah, we provide a workforce management. A simple way of breaking it down is the tool we provide today allows retailers to plan smartly. In some days, people will plan and they have no traffic of clients coming in. That means they're paying more salary than they need to be paying. Whereas with the tool that we provide, you're able to know that, for example, on a Monday, you have less visitors compared to, for example, a Saturday afternoon. There is also the aspect of budgeting. The tool that we offer allows you to budget your salary, allows you to budget and have a prediction on your turnovers, and also, manage all the vacation, know who's absent, who's present. Instead of somebody, if, for example, a person has 100 stores, instead of having to work things out one by one, with a tool like us, they can, optimize the process through automation. I'll give you a simple example. During COVID, if you have, for example, if you had a store that had, if you had 200 stores and you have, I don't know, 5,000 employees, and you have to reduce their salaries to 80%, imagine the workload of you having to do that one by one per person. Whereas with a tool like us, you can just create an absence type called COVID, and you put the pay at 80%, for example, and that would automatically generate it for the entire company. So it's time saving, and it's also saving you costs on certain on salary.
That is important. And what type of businesses can benefit from this service, this automation service that you provide? What kind of businesses would you target as your client?
So today the main target for us is retailers, because the tool itself was built by ex-retailer. The owner of the company used to be a retailer himself, and he saw the gap in the market, and that's where the idea came from. But again, today you have restaurants that also benefit from what we offer. Retailers, restaurant, but you can really benefit anybody, like hotels also. But what we try to focus on today is mainly retailers and restaurants for the meantime. before COVID and after COVID, a lot of things have changed in terms of how people are open to digital tools, for example. In life, I think when you look at history, there's always an event that happens that push people to get out of their comfort zone. And I think in this case, COVID was one of them, you know. How do I sell to market where people are not really open to digital? I like to just put you in front of straight facts. You know, I would have my tool when I'm showing you a demo, and I will have the way you do things and just genuinely show you how much time you'll be saving, you know, how much easier it is to navigate. Because when people think technology, people think, you know, you have to do everything as an engineer, you have to understand algorithm and etc. But no, you know, that's the back work, and that's already been done by us. All you have to do is literally use a tool as you would use your computer or use your WhatsApp, you know. So what I normally do with this kind of clients, I'll literally have the demo. I'll normally sometimes give them the hands, allow them to navigate themselves. And I'm just telling them, you can click on here, you can click on this, but that's at the next stage of, for example, the presentation, you know. And once they've navigated on it by themselves, you know, it becomes a walk in the park because they feel comfortable, they feel easy, is intuitive because it's easy to understand, and that opens a wider door for us to work with them.
All right. Now, in terms of maybe connection, how is it easy for you to penetrate a local market? I know you were talking about lazy with the local companies before in your explanation when you were talking about collaboration, which of course I found very interesting. So I don't know if you want to spend more time there on how you are able to penetrate the local market so that maybe some other persons can learn from you. Because why we are here actually sharing is because we want to encourage other people to go out there and do things, looking at maybe what you are doing so that they can learn from you. So yeah, help me with that. You are entering into a new market. How do you penetrate the local culture?
Penetrating the local culture, like I said, partnership is one of them. But the other thing I want to touch on here is to do things that you are not really comfortable doing. For example, you have to attend exhibitions. You know, you have to check online, see if there's any exhibition related to your market in terms of the product you're offering. You know, and it's important for you to attend those places, meet people. You know, yes, we are selling something that's digital. Yes, today everything is pretty much done online, but it's still important for you to go and have that one-to-one contact with people, you know, so people can put a name to a product. A face to a product. People knows that when I'm talking about this company, I can see Jonathan's face, for example. The other aspect to that, it will be also to I like to be to say, how do you call this, the open space working areas. When you're penetrating a new market, that's my advice. That's what I've always advised to do. Don't take an office by yourself where there's just you and your team. Take an office, for example, in a place where there is co-working, because you have business event where you get to meet people. You know, you have a lot of new businesses that are trying to penetrate. So through that, you make connections. You know, and don't be scared. Don't be scared, for example, in my segment, to go into a store or to just cold call, you know, companies. Try to get in conversation. Try to send emails, you know, connect on LinkedIn with people. You never know where the door can open from.
All right. Now you're talking of cold calling, talking of connection, talking of meeting new people. Now I'm thinking, do you also maybe like use content creation in your marketing?
100%. It's important for you on your side to also be, I'm talking about the internal aspect of things. It's important for you to be in, as a salesperson anyway, a sales department has to work closely with the marketing department. You know, you have to work closely with the marketing. So whenever you spot a little gap, a little opportunity that you can do in terms of, like you mentioned, content creation, creating new campaign, for example, the marketing team can just generate that straight away from you, you know, so you can just get that into work. It's important not to neglect the marketing aspect of things, you know, but that's one aspect. That's the marketing side. There's also the product side, because I won't touch on that too much because that's no within the question. But just to let you know, one market would have different demand to market A would have different demand to market B, for example. in terms of what they expect the product to do, in terms of compliances. So it's important for you as the salesperson, as the business developer, to be in contact with the product, to be in contact with the marketing, so you can have the best foot forward to be successful.
All right, that's interesting. So, which have been the best moment for you in this company that you are working for, that you treasure? Okay, I know you're still young, like you said. You still have a lot of things to do in life. You still have a lot of things. Your career is still like this. You have a lot to still go. But okay, there are progress. They say it's not like you are going to be working all your life to just get it one day.
Yeah.
Progress is every day. Success is every day. Failure, of course, is also all the time. No, it's just like this: one step, one step, one step, one step. You're just going. No, sometimes it's down, sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down.
I wouldn't be a salesperson if I don't sell. If I don't say the moment that I've closed the sale, those have been the biggest moments, because the company that I work for is an international company. When you close a sale, you are celebrated from every single offices. Everybody is happy. The CEO is happy. Your colleagues are happy. You are happy. That's the biggest moment. But I'm going to step aside from sales a little bit. I'm going to come back into the just human myself. Whenever we have like conference with the colleagues, like I said, we had a big conference straight after COVID, and it was like a year and a half or 2 years after we didn't see each other. And that was a magical moment, because everybody started connected online. But when we were able to get together, that was really, really a magical moment, just to understand and to see people, to see the vision and mission of the company presented. That time together is very, very important. They are magical.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're magical. They're really important.
Yeah.
All right. Now, in your work, Jonathan, how much is effective communication important for you to get better result in your sales? Help me understand that.
Effective communication, Obehi, not just within my work. First of all, I'm a person who believes in communication massively. Like I said, I'm a person who like to continuously grow in whatever I do. If I turn my camera, you see I've got so many books. I'm always reading. I'm always checking podcasts. I'm always checking documentaries, because I know that, first of all, I learn a lot from these things, and it's important for me to be able to also deliver the message I want to deliver to people. That's where the communication aspect comes into. Effective communication is key to selling, and communication is not just me giving the information, but to me, communication is also being able to sit down and listen and understand what the client's need is. I like to say that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, because we have to listen twice more than we talk. It is important for a person to sit down and really understand. There's a quote in sales that says, people don't buy products or services, people buy solutions to their problems. So if you miss the problem, you will never be able to sell, no matter how great your product is. Somebody might have an issue just with managing the HR. And if you go and talk about budgeting, you go and wait out of the needs. So you need to be able to listen. And communication is also the body language, for example. You can be in a meeting room where one person is more receptive than the other. What do you do? How do you do to break down the person who's less receptive so they feel comfortable around you? So for me, effective communication is number one. And I'm not just talking about me verbalizing it, but I'm talking about, first of all, listening. Second of all, analyzing body language, everything, then delivering what I need to deliver to meet the person's in front of me needs.
And if I may ask you, why do you think some people might lack the ability to be effective in their communication?
Good question. That's a very good question. It's actually a conversation I have with a lot of people, because we all do that. I also do that. I put my hands up, but I try to work on it. What we tend to do is, when a person is talking, we don't actually listen to them. There is a time span of, I think, 7 seconds where we easily lose attention to what the person is saying, because whatever a person say, our attention goes into a word that they've said that reminds us of a situation that we've been in. So when answering, we don't fully answer their question. You have different people. Some people will talk to you 20 words. They will tell you the entire story and tell you the most important thing at the end. So if you disconnected from the beginning, you wouldn't be able to answer the question. So I think the reason why not many people communicate effectively is, again, because they don't just stick to that listening part long enough. We easily disconnect because we've heard a word that we've been that related to a story that we've been in, or we take in the first few information and we're already ready to respond in our mind, without having to listen to the entire thing the person has to say. That's what I think, because I've been through that, I still do that, but again, it's something that I work on constantly to help me become better in communicating.
All right, Jonathan, that is something that I'm thinking, that marketing is a job that you do continuously. That it says it's not something that you do only once in a while. So it requires a lot of effort. You're going to be meeting people, talking, proposing, evaluating, sometimes dealing with people who do not maybe want to talk to you, but you want to talk to them because you are the one that needs something from them. So you are not going to wait for them to come to you. You are going to go to them. Sometimes maybe they might not even like you, but you like them because you are able to deal with all kind of people because you are mature. But in the whole of all this now is a kind of a hard job, as it were, no? Because if sales was the simplest thing to do, a lot of people will be doing it. But we can see now it is not really like that. So within that understanding, what is sort of propelling you to continue? What is energizing you to continue in sales? Help me understand that.
One thing, there's one word that comes into my mind, is just passion. I'm passionate about what I do. I love business development. I love, growing businesses. That's just something I'm very, very passionate about. Like you mentioned, sometimes you meet clients that are not really open to what you're offering. That's when you have to, present the added value of what you have to offer to them, but there's one word that comes into my mind when you ask me this question, is simply passion. I think you have to be passionate about what you do, and everything else will follow, because when you're passionate, you will learn. When you're passionate, you will practice, and we know practice makes perfect. When you're passionate, you will find a way to make things work. Sometimes it can be stressful because it can take a long time. Sometimes you have sales cycles that can be done within a month, within 3 months. Some can take a year and a half, but you have to be passionate. You have to be patient. You have to be willing to see projects come through. And I'm just passionate about business development. I love, the entire sales cycle, the negotiation, the client management, the whole aspect. And I'm a very, very different salesperson because I don't just stop when I've sold. I like to continue and make sure that the client is happy. I would keep in touch, with the client. The client also tend to understand that, because whenever there is an issue, they will come to me straight away instead of going maybe to, I don't know, the support team or anybody else. And that doesn't pose problem for me, because it shows that I'm a great ambassador for the company that I work for. And then I just am passionate about it.
All right. You used another keyword that I really like a lot, and of course that is very common in sales, which is persuasion. Of course, persuasion is very almost all the time tied to communication, and of course to sales at the end of the day, because of course, not only to sales, but even if you go to politics also, if you're a politician and you don't know how to persuade people, you are going to lose people all the time now, because you need to be able to sell your idea to the people and get them to follow you. The example that usually we use in this case now would be like when President John F. Kennedy wanted to sell the idea of going to the moon to the American in the 60s. He needed to really be very clear on what he wanted to say and sell this idea very well. Otherwise, the people are not going to buy, because the Americans, they have never gone to the moon before. So how are you going to sell this idea? People cannot see it. So exactly. Yes, in that sense, it is
exactly
all right. So how do you use persuasion in your communication and by extension in your sales?
Many salespeople around me, I think would agree, but I'm going to talk about myself with the approach I have. Externally speaking, salespeople, we are sometimes seen as not serious, not honest. We just want to sell to people. But for me, one of the core values that I've carried with me from the very beginning of my sales journey up until today is honesty. Honesty in the sense of when I'm selling a product to somebody, I know that it's going to benefit you in your business. And I've had situations where I'm on the phone to client or I'm in the meeting and they tell me, look, John, we're already doing this, we have this, we have this. And I'll turn around and tell the client, I understand where you're coming from. I don't think it's going to be a match. And that has always built a bridge of respect and consideration from the client to me. And that also makes it easier for the client next time to maybe suggest another company to me because they know I was honest with them. So persuasion has always come easier for me because I've always tried to be honest in my approach. I don't persuade people when I know something is not gonna add value to the business. That is my core element that I've used from when I was selling trainers in stores to when I started selling software to business development to everything. As this has always been my core values, to try to have some honesty in everything you're selling and not just sell for the sake of selling. And that's always make persuasion easier for me because at the end of the day, persuasion is a conversation. You're showing somebody that, look, I think this will benefit you because of A, B, C. Today, this is how you're doing things. This is what we can add into your business. This is how much time you're going to be saving, how much money you're going to be saving. This is how, the tool will help you manage your risks better, etc. And people see, also human beings see through you. If you are not honest within your persuasion, they will cut you off. If you are honest within your persuasion, people are open and ready to listen to you.
All right. Now, how do you know that a client of yours is going to buy from you? Because I understand now that you like the selling.
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I'm going to be honest. You never. Yes. It's hard. Some clients are very open from the very beginning. You're presenting and is a take for them. Others are very close. Some people you cannot read them, and also at the level of sales that I do, there is a lot of sales stages. You might present to the HR director, then after you're going to present to the CFO, then you're going to present to procurement, then you know what I mean? So everybody would have a different say into it, How do I know? I don't know. I just try to make sure that the number one step, which is the need and analysis, breaking down the client's need, the client problem, the solution that we can bring into the business. I just make sure I nail that bit. And once I nail that bit, I know everything else will just follow.
All right.
But it's very hard. I cannot tell you that you walk into a meeting and this is a close. No. But I'm very confident in what I sell. I make sure that the need and analysis is done. I make sure to be very commercially aware in terms of my competition, what they're offering, the price range, everything that goes around it. And I stepped into every meeting confident because I've done my homework before. And I know that I'm going to be going in there to get business done. But then do I ever know if the client is going to buy? I'll put my hands up and tell you I never know. I just make sure that I do my homework correctly.
And if you do your homework correctly, in most of the cases, you get your result.
It's a win. Exactly. Exactly. It's like in everything, when you train, you get the result. When you study, you get the results. Most likely you're going to get the results. Yes.
Now, you help companies to grow. Also, maybe in new locations, you help them to expand, correct?
Yes.
Now, how do you measure your growth? How do you know that you are growing? Okay, I know there is money. I know there are dollars that you are going to count how much you make today and all that. But help me understand that one in detail. How do you measure your success when you help a company to grow and to expand, maybe a new territory, or maybe the one that you're already in, you just wanted to and to get more to get more or return on investment?
You analyze that a business is growing when, first of all, we're in a numbers game, as simple as that. When the percentage, for example, of next year is higher than what you achieved the year before. But before the next year comes, there's always targets. You have a target set for you, which is the general yearly target. Then it's broken down into quarterly, then that's broken down into monthly, etc. The only way of analyzing if there is growth in business is, first of all, knowing that the numbers you are doing is higher than the previous year and is meeting your target or exceeding it. And second of all, we have a term that we say we call churn. Churn is actually the number of clients you are winning that are staying, because sometimes you can win clients and they are not staying. They don't become paying clients in the long run. They end up, disconnected after 6 months, after 1 year, etc. You also analyze that. And the churn percentage is a strong indicator in terms of how well the business is doing.
Now, in your sales career, are there also some challenges? What would that be? Help us understand it.
Yeah, there are definitely challenges. Challenges as a salesperson, first thing first is when the sale is taking way longer than you need to take. That's one challenge. But in my segment, in business development, going into a market, there is one challenge. The culture differences can be a challenge if you're not prepared for it. For example, in the UK, when you present a tool, people like it, you can get an answer pretty quickly compared to, for example, in France, where the sales cycle sometimes might take slightly longer because there needs to be a lot of conversation internally. That's just how people do things. They don't rush into a decision like that. So the culture difference, if you're not prepared for it, can be a massive hit in the head for you. I would say that's one of the targets in terms of one of the challenges, in terms of the business development segments.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Now, let's look at the people that are listening to you right now. Maybe they also want to get into sales, but they don't know how to get started. What would you recommend to them as a kind of maybe the strategy to get started and be successful in sales?
In sales, like I said earlier, is a numbers game. You have to be willing to do things. Sales is a great job because it kind of exposes you to a lot of things, to growth professionally, but also personally. Imagine getting 100 no's on a daily. You just become very mentally strong because everybody you call, or the majority of people you call, you get the door closed on you. But within those 100 people, there might be 5 people that will literally make your entire day because you had a great conversation with someone, because you had a great meeting, because you had a great deal, for example. And sales, I wouldn't say it's simple, but it's simple to some extent because it's a numbers game. You have to make your calls, you have to do your emails, you have to be willing to travel to exhibitions, you have to be willing to run the extra mile. What people are not going to be willing to do, you have to be comfortable doing that. And you have to be doing that with an open heart, with a confident mindset that no matter what it is, you might go and get a big contact, and that might result in one sale and closing your entire yearly budget. You know what I mean? So I would encourage them. You have to be willing. You have to be willing and driven.
Well, that question is very important, and also the answer you gave is very important in today because there are a lot of Africans, particularly young Africans, that are online today with their cell phone. That cell phone is actually the biggest instrument that we have in our century. In that, with that, you can connect to any part of the world. So that means you can do business with any person in the world. So what is just left now is what do you want to do? You can enter into sales. You can actually sell. What can you sell? You can sell anything. Start with service. You can help somebody, help a company, connect people.
Exactly.
Connect to another company. They will pay you. You get
exactly. As simple as. And you know what? I'm going to add into that. We actually indirectly sell every day. When you meet people for the first time, You present yourself. This is who I am. This is what I do. What about you? Blah, blah, blah. And the other person, you never know, you might connect. They might be in an industry that's relative to your industry. That's also selling. In everything that we do, we indirectly sell, to each other. But of course, there is that bracket where we are called salespeople that people are slightly afraid of, but sales is just a normal everyday thing, and we do it on a daily basis. We do it since a very early age. You meet friends at school, you're 5 years old, you're going to introduce them to yourself, show them what's your favorite toys. That's you're selling yourself to them. They might like you because of your toy, then that person might remain your friend for the next 40 years of your life,
How would you conclude the conversation that we have had today? Like maybe there is a message you wanted to leave behind or something you wanted to say I did not ask you. Conclude it in your own way. Please go ahead.
No problem. I presented myself as African who lives in Europe today and working in a European segment. But I just wanted to touch on one thing, Obehi. I'm super passionate about my continent. Today, what I look to do is really try to help my continent in terms of the little pedigree that I have, the little knowledge that I have in some aspects. Try to help either it's young people, either it's companies, from my continent to be able to develop. I've worked with a lot of people. I've learned from a lot of successful people, and my continent holds my continent at heart. So I'm very, very passionate about developing my continent with the little percentage that I can bring in. This is something we didn't touch upon, but it's something that's very in my heart, and I wanted to share that with. And I just also want to encourage people, time may be tough from time to time. You might feel that things are difficult from wherever you are in the world. But I just want to tell somebody, you have to keep striving. You have to do your work every day to the maximum that you can. And one day there is a certain door. One day there is a certain opportunity that will open to you that you never even expected. So whoever you are watching this, I just encourage you to keep going, keep chasing your dream, keep working hard, going the extra mile. And there is an opportunity and a chance for everybody out there. But you have to keep grinding, keep working hard, and exposing yourself to receiving whatever opportunity comes across you.
I think you have used the word extra mile twice here. That is very important. And I just want to tell people that at the extra mile, there is no traffic at all. Nothing, there is no competition there. When you get to the extra mile, you write your ticket. At the extra mile, we all should strive to go the extra mile irrespective of what you do. Because when you get there, you can basically write your own ticket. That is very, very important. I love that. I really love that. Thank you so much for that, brother. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And thank you to you, Obehi, for taking the time. It was a very, very good conversation. And I also want to say, keep doing what you're doing. I really encourage you. And thank you for selecting me to have this conversation and be able to share, with the audience.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure here.
Yeah.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you in the next episode.